Welcome. If you're just joining us, I want to know what you're celebrating. I told you what I'm celebrating, that I held my tongue. So let me know, write me a little message so I know what you're celebrating. And I'm celebrating also that I just had a first college visit to my freshman son's college. And it was like kind of emotional, but not for the reasons I thought it would be. I first got there, it's in Seattle, and I'm meeting him for the first time after being apart for a month, and he's got all of his girlfriends around him. He's some of his best buddies are girls right now. And they're also excited to meet me, and I'm excited to meet his friends, but truth be told, I just want to see my boy. I just want to see what he's up to. And it was interesting to realize, like, oh, wow, this next phase of our relationship, there might always be other people around. And then we went to dinner, and my husband's a great planner, and he had planned to have like all the friends he wanted. So he invited, I think it was like 5 or 6 friends, and then a couple parents came, and it was this big table. But really, I just wanted to hang out with my boy. And then the next day, he's like, "Let's go to the football game," and that was awesome. And rah rah rah, and it rained, and I was well equipped for it. I was really proud of having rainproof gear, being a Southern California girl. But I just wanted to be hanging out with my boy, and I'm the kind of person like I just want to hang out. I don't want to have to like go do things. And then we went to the Museum of Illusion in Seattle, which I do recommend, especially for the picture opportunities. I've got a picture that looks like I'm hanging from a window, but really I'm laying on the ground. There was all these cool pictures we took. But again, I just wanted to hang out, and it kind of felt like, oh, I see. Maybe we're in the phase of our relationship where we have to go do something to spend time together, because like our Airbnb was too small for him to, or too far away actually for him to come to. And I'm not going to go hang out in his dorm room. He's got a roommate. So I just kind of miss that. That's why I'm so looking forward to the holidays, Thanksgiving, when he comes back for a few days. The spicy one is in Europe and will not be back until Christmas. So college was interesting. The college visit, he is happy, and gosh, it's easy to be happy when your kid is happy. I can't imagine if I went to visit him and I could tell he was kind of not good. That would be hard. Emin says, I accidentally started a food pantry, Uber delivery. Oh my gosh, recruiting drivers and households that are disabled, elderly, working during on food pantry distribution hours. Oh, that's lovely. So suddenly you have a part-time job of driving around. Oh gosh, it must be amazing to see the looks on people's faces and to actually be touching people that you're helping relationally. I feel like we're all so sequestered that we're donating to this or that, but not able to actually see the people. So I celebrate with you. That's pretty cool. If you're just joining us, tell me what you're celebrating. Sometimes, well, you know what I'm learning? Here's another thing I'm celebrating. Wait, and it says she's responding that they have need and other drivers wanting to help. Yeah, there's so many people that want to help and don't know what they should do during this crazy time. Um, so something I'm also celebrating is that I took my husband to my therapist. Now my dog is right under my foot, so I'm going to fall over. Hey, come up here. Come up here. Parkour. Excellent. Um, oh, he's right back with me. Don't follow me for dog training advice. We call our dog Barky the bitch boy because he does whatever he wants, and he barks at anything he wants. Right now he's being quiet, so I let him do what he wants to do. Um so I took my husband to my neurodivergent therapist. So my therapist is both autistic and has ADHD, just like I'm autistic and have ADHD. And so I feel so seen by this woman. Like we just get into it. And I took my very neurotypical husband. And I said, I just want to like get a sense of, I want to help educate Mr. Van Geffen on some of my limitations and some of my challenges, and also what it must be like for him to be with somebody who's um, type 1 autistic and super ADHD. And I learned so much, and he learned so much. For instance, maybe you've heard of rejection dysphoria. That's the thing that happens a lot with ADHD people and all of humanity, where you become kind of a perfectionist. You don't start something because you think to yourself, I'll get rejected at the end of it. Like, I won't do that thing to the extent that normal people think it should be done, so I won't even start. So that's a little bit of rejection dysphoria, as well as feeling like your people are rejecting you when they're not, but you're picking up on cues and you're over processing things that happen. That's a negative thing that we have. But when my husband said, "Yeah, but how do we just get Mary to do the things she needs to do? Like, just get it done," which he's really good at. And we were talking about like a room being super messy. And she said, "Well, the neurodivergent brain versus a neurotypical brain, when a neurotypical person looks at a messy room, they see it linearly, like this needs to get put away, then this, then this, then this. When a neurodivergent person looks at a messy room, it's like their focus shatters into a million pieces, almost like glass breaking. And every one of those pieces, every one of those things that need to happen, all have equal weight. And she was likening this to like our internal verbal processing. Neurodivergent people don't have it. We don't have a narrator that says, first I need to do that, then I do that. We don't have that. So everything looks mutually important, which is really overwhelming. And I don't know where to start, which is why I often say to my husband, just tell me one thing in the house you want me to clean and I'll do it. And it's so dumb because I could tell myself that, but it doesn't work. I need him to be like, yeah, can you please clean on all around our bed? And can you get everything off the floor? Okay, I can do that. He is just prioritized for me. But that's not even the thing I wanted to tell you. The thing I wanted to tell you, I want to tell you about RRE. Write it down. Put it in the comments. RRE, which is recognition responsive euphoria. Recognition responsive euphoria. As soon as she said it, I lit up. I'm like, yes, the euphoria, the the huge burst of joy and well-being I get when somebody notices something about me that is true and that is important to me. And sure, this is an ADHD thing, but it's a relationship thing. Everybody gets a little bit of like, yeah, they saw me. I'll never forget having lunch with my pastor, who happens to be a female. And as we left, she said, "Wow, Mary, you have a tender heart and a lively mind." And I was like, I just walked to the car going, tender heart, lively mind. That's me. Euphoria. So I am suggesting to you that you might harness the power of that euphoria by naming the goodness and the people around you. It's funny, right now, the number one post on my feed is this thing I just sat down once last Thanksgiving and said, and it's about speak to a king and a king will appear. When you talk about the goodness of somebody, they kind of like become more of that. They want to stand up and embody that thing you're saying. And I think that kind of dovetails with this recognition responsive euphoria, that when someone receives genuine affirmation or encouragement or approval, it sort of boosts their engagement and their productivity. So I'm going to need people to tell me what I'm doing great. And then and that includes you, Jill, because I know you're watching. Okay. Switching. I need like a little thing like changing topics unless you want to tell me something. I am definitely reading comments. So if you're here and you've got some thoughts, put them in. I don't want to feel lonely while I'm doing this. So I'm definitely want to know what you're celebrating and what you're interested in. So there is a new hobby out there that my Mr. Van Geffen is going to take up, and it's called churning. Has anybody heard of churning? I don't know why I'm saying it so weird. Just churning, just like butter churning, but that's not what it is. Try to guess what you think churning is. What do you think churning is? Nope, meaning you don't want to butter churn or you don't know what it is. Who knows what they think churning is? I'm going to close the door real quick. Top secret. Churning is this new thing, maybe it's not new, where people make money by opening credit cards getting the points or the whatever, and then you go and you close them. I don't even 100% understand it, but you could make like some people are making $20,000 a year by churning. And there's like a whole Reddit on churning. And I said to my husband, that's the most ableist hobby I've ever heard of. And I was kind of joking, but like, if you have ADHD, do not try churning because you're going to open something and then you're going to move on and forget you opened it because you don't have an object permanence. Um, so I will not be churning, but I just want to shout out that I thought that was interesting. I'm getting ready for Thanksgiving. How about you? Have you thought about Thanksgiving at all in terms of like what the plan is? I have both my brothers and their wives and their daughters coming, and I have my aged parents flying in from the East Coast, and the parents are staying with me. The brothers are staying at an Airbnb that's in walking distance. And the family is very nervous about whether or not we're going to eat since I'm in charge. And they have, it's fascinating to sit back and watch all the, like dysfunctional families, how they start like calling and talking to each other. And then you hear little smatterings of it. And so my husband is like, your little brother is very concerned that we won't be eating, that you won't have thought through what to eat. And I was like, well, joke's on him because I'm going to throw a bunch of money at it. There's a thing called Mother's here, which is like a kind of like a Whole Foods. It's inexpensive, holistic grocer. And I went online and they have turkeys and they have mashed potatoes and they have Brussels sprouts and I'm getting it all there. And I'm gonna make my new favorite dessert, which is like chocolate toffee crack. Have you ever made this? By the way, what's your favorite dessert? I want to know if there's something you make that's like super easy because I'm gonna have these two teeny boppers. I'm gonna have a 10 and a 12-year-old here, and I want to make stuff together because with my own kids I couldn't do it. Okay, the spicy one and me baking together was a disaster. I used to have a good friend who's like, I'm so stressed. I think I'm gonna bake something, and I would be like, you're stressed, and you're gonna add to it all these measurements and the specificity of baking. That is not my jam. Um, But now that I'm kind of more like the grandmother to these kids, now I'm ready to bake with them. I don't care if we mess it up. But this toffee crack or whatever it's called is you take saltine crackers, lay them down in a pan. Then over here on the stove, you heat up uh, brown sugar and butter, and you make a toffee. I guess caramel. You make a caramel. And when it gets thick enough, you pour it over the saltines. And then you smoosh it around, make sure it's covered. You put that in the preheated oven. That got me. I hadn't preheated it. I got to tell you what I did for this dinner party. Hold on. I put it in the oven. And then once it comes out, I want to say like 15 minutes later, you add chocolate chips. Don't touch it for 5 minutes. That's really hard. Don't touch it. And then you smoosh the chocolate chips all across. And then you add pecans. And then you don't touch it. You let that glossy chocolate cool. I put it in the oven. I mean the refrigerator. And then you crack it apart and it is crispy. And then I made a fatal flaw. I put it in airtight containers. And 2 days later, it was no longer crispy. And my friend said you should have put a piece of bread in there with it. Never heard of that. Oh, okay. So you guys are talking about churning finally. I don't know. And I thought you were going to say mahjong. I mean, I'd be open if someone wants to teach me, but I'm not real good at card games that have math where you're supposed to know what's been played or not played. Well, you don't have great short-term memory. I'm easy to take in those games. Sunny said I didn't know churning had a name. MN says she went to Disney in 2016 from churning. A $10,000 trip paid for by churning. Is this going to become a churning account? Okay. So guess what I did? I had a dinner party. By the way, did you know that the number one of the slow down, Mary. You know when like 8 ideas come at once and you're like, which one? They're all so good. And then they'll be gone in 30 seconds. But I'm like an LTK is like a shopping, like if I want to show you like where to get this, you go to my LTK. It's I like to know. And on it, they give you training as an influencer. And one of the things they said is the number one search trend right now is dinner party. That's interesting. So people are into dinner parties now. We are because we just want to have a reason to get together. But then I did a on my Instagram, I did a poll and I was like, how do you feel about uh dinner parties? Do you love to have people over or do you find it super stressful? And I would say 85% were like, it is so incredibly stressful. I am mean to my family leading up to it. And then I'm happy for a moment that everyone's there. And then I kind of feel guilty about how we treated my family, or like you kind of want them to be happy with you, but you've been so mean to them all day. I just think dinner parties and hosting, we've made it so up here. The stakes are so much higher than they need to be. So I have these two families that we get together every Halloween and have a dinner party. And somehow I've successfully not had it at my house for like, I gotta think like 3 or 4 years. And I knew it was time for me to do it. So I was like, "Hey," and gotta act like you're chill with it, like it's not super stressful, or else you're not really gifting them with like the gift of just like showing up and you are taking care of them. Like that's what a dinner party is, right? So I was like, "Hey, it's at my house this time. I'm gonna make um I'm gonna make dinner. It's gonna be great. You don't need to bring anything." Normally we say, "Oh, everybody brings something," but I was like, it's my turn to give back to these people. Do you know I was so friggin' stressed for the week leading up to it, and then I had an epiphany. AI can help me with this. I am disabled. I deserve to have accommodations because, of course, you feel bad when you use AI that you're burning up drinking water and such, but like I can't do this on my own. So I had put I had 3 recipes. The toffee crack I told you about. I was gonna make butternut squash soup that you bake first, the soup and onions and carrots with a big thing of feta cheese in the middle. And then you put it in your Vitamix. So I was gonna do that. And I was gonna make a salad with like a sumac salad dressing. And do you know how many decisions and steps there are when you're making 4 different recipes? So I was like, I'm going to upload each of those recipes to AI. I happen to use Claude. I'm sure ChatGPT is better, but I understand Claude, so I got to use that. So I upload all of the recipes, and then I took screenshots of what I was about to order because I thought I had added everything into the instant cart. Is this riveting, guys? Tell me if you want me to talk about something else because I just want to talk to you. I want to know: do you order your groceries or do you go to the grocery store? Which one? And is it annoying when you're asked to tip before the person does the work? I'm all about tipping, but I kind of feel like get me the stuff first and let me see that you canceled all the live herbs. What is that about? You know that they are in the grocery store and they're like, I'm not going to that aisle to get those live herbs. So they should show up. They didn't bring three. Oh, good. You love a good pickup. Yeah, that's good too. And then you could add a few things if you've forgotten. So I put everything into the what is it, smart cart or whatever, and I was like, I'll just take a screenshot of those. And I tell AI, this is what I'm ordering. These are the recipes. Is there anything I've forgotten? And lo and behold, it's like you forgot garlic. Garlic's pretty important to this recipe. I was like, thank you, AI. I added garlic. And then it came in. So then I was starting to feel like, oh, AI's got me. And I was like, make me a detailed list of everything I need to do the next 3 days. This was like Wednesday. This was a Tuesday. And the Friday was the dinner party. Make me a detailed list. So it's like, first make this recipe on Wednesday. And I was like, oh, no, no, not make this recipe. Tell me every single step of the recipe. Tell me to go get a bowl. Find a bowl that's big enough. Get out I want you to break it down into the smallest manageable parts. And it did it. It did it. except for it made some like odd choices. Like it was like put everything in a Ziploc bag the night before you're chopping it all up, add the sage. And I was like, oh, won't the sage get burned? And it's like, nope, sage won't get burned. And I was like, hold on, AI. And I had to go read the original recipe. And I was like, mother, the sage was supposed to go in to the end product into the Vitamix, and it would have gotten burned. So it wasn't foolproof, but it was really nice to have this. I took that long list it made, I put it into my notes, and I just kind of scrolled through and was like, okay, I did that. I did that. And it really did make me feel like I had some structure to the whole project. So that was awesome. Um, but at the dinner party, one of the guests said something kind of insulting to me. Tell me how you would feel about this. Um, we were all having drinks. That never makes for uh people really watching what they say. But one of the guys said, "Oh yeah, Maria could never hurt my feelings. She's just so sweet." That's my one of my best friends. Mary, on the other hand, she could hurt my feelings. And at the time I was like, "Thank you," because I refuse to let anybody see when that I don't deem safe that they've hurt my feelings, but kind of hurt my feelings. I would have been okay with that, except for a few minutes later. This is the husband of my other good friend. A few minutes later, he said, "Oh yeah, well, she's just so maternal. Maria and Sophie," he said his wife's name, and I was like, I think you forgot someone. And we all laughed. And I was like, now this guy's calling me not maternal. And maybe like want to get out all my photo albums. Is this maternal enough for you? I'm not going to be maternal to you, mister. So I'm kind of sitting with that. Like, I think when we get upset by something someone said, generally it's we think there's a little bit of truth to it. Because if someone's like, I hate your black straight hair, I'm going to be like, dude, what are you talking about? But he said two things. One, that I can say things that really hurt his feelings. I'm going to be okay with that one. I'm going to decide that is, I'm very blunt and I'm direct and you know where you stand with me. And I'm going to name the thing that's happening that no one's talking about. I will receive that. But the saying that they were maternal and kind of inferring that I was not, I don't like that. So I did follow up with a picture of me and my little kids and like, look how maternal I'm being. And I included his wife on the text. And I'm kind of hoping that she will speak to him about getting his crap together. I'm literally in the middle of hosting a huge dinner party. I was super chill by the time they got there. And he's calling me not maternal. And then why do I care that this guy's calling me not maternal? You ever had somebody say something to you and then it kind of just like sticks with you and you're like, what do I do with that? So that happened. Here are some quotes. Just got a couple minutes left because I want to keep this to 30 minutes. Here are quotes that are leaving me awestruck right now. One is by Jamie Lee Curtis. She said, I can never not be me. I love that. I can never not be me. This is who I am. You don't think I'm maternal enough? Take a hike, buddy, because I ain't supposed to mother you. Here's another one by Elizabeth Gilbert. Did you see this? Laura Tremaine posted what Elizabeth Gilbert said at like an event where some dude stood up and was like, a lot of people don't like your book. They really dislike what you've done and they've said this. What have you learned from your critics? And Elizabeth Gilbert said, actually, I've never learned anything from someone who hated me. Boom, mic drop. Love that. Like, this is who I am. If you're somebody who hates me, I don't really want to take your information. I don't think the guy at the dinner party hates me. I think he's scared of me. And my last quote that I'm interested in is by Richard Rohr. I am in a book study reading The Universal Christ, and it is fibrous by Richard Rohr. Some people in my church are reading it together, and some of it's hard to get through, but this is from his chapter 5, which is all about love and how when we love strongly a human or a thing that we love, that in a way we're practicing loving the divine and how it's all connected. And he says, remember, the only thing that separates you from God is the thought that you are separate from God. just gave me warm fuzzies. I texted it to a friend who had said to me, I left God and I don't feel like he came after me. And I don't know, that gets me. Because a lot of people have been separated from God by things that humans have done, and that makes me really sad because God is crazy about. Somebody says I'm loving rocks and the earth and animals. I love that. Good. Love that one about living rocks first. That was a powerful quote. Hmm. Good to be with you. Thanks for letting me ramble. I'm going to do this every week. It's kind of like having a podcast without having a podcast. So I hope you'll join me. I don't know when I'm going to do it, but I'll always send out a reminder in the week prior's Friday newsletter if you're on my newsletter. Hope you have a wonderful week. You're doing really good work and I'm proud of you. Okay, bye.